Hello everyone, this is Said from Medonix and I welcome you to my first part of tutorials over Android. In this series of tutorials we want to make some practical applications on Android platform, and we will start with very simple applications, and we will gradually go higher in details and we will be more experienced with Android. Okay, so the first application I want to show you is the Chronometer. I have already made a working version. As you can see, it's a quite simple application. It's just a single screen or single activity. On the top you have some a placeholder for the time, and on the bottom you have some buttons for the chronometer to start it or to stop it or record the laps. For example, if I start it, it will start like a normal chronometer. While it's running, I can press lap and I can capture the lap that the moment that I press the button. Okay, very simple, and I can stop it, and if I start it again, it will be restarted. And the good thing is, if you pause the application, I mean by going to another application and coming back, the time will be recorded and you will not lose the time. So let's get started and see how we can develop this application from scratch. Okay, as you can see, I have already started Android Studio. I'm going to simply start a new Android Studio project, and I will name the application Chronometer, and the company domain is my website's name, okay, medonix.com, and project location, it will be on my home directory and inside the work directory, and you're free to save this project anywhere you want. This is just my preference. Okay, we press next, and we want to select the API that we want to work with. As you can see, the Android Studio tells us if we use Android 4.03, we will be compatible with 97.3% of the devices in the world. So let's stick with that. If we go higher, then the compatibility is less. For example, for Android 6, 1.3%. So that's not what you want. Okay. And we don't care about the Wear, TV, Android Auto, and Glass. We just go ahead by pressing next. And make sure that to select the empty activity, because if you select a blank activity, this new kind of activity will come default for you, and this has this very pesky circle here and we don't need it in this project, so let's just go with the empty activity. Okay, and we want that empty activity to be named main activity, because it's our main entry point into the application. So the layout name, we just leave everything default and hit finish. Okay, the Android Studio has been working hard to make this project ready for us, and this is the first screen you will see after starting the project. So let's have a quick overview of the project structure. We have the app folder, which is our application. We have the manifest file. We will explain it later. We have the Java folder, which will contain our test or sources. We will not use the Android test in this project, but maybe in later projects we will have a look into it. And the first real source file that we have is the main activity.java, and here's the place that we can start coding. And the other interesting folder is resources. I think you are familiar with the resources in Android, so you have the values and layouts and some drawable for images and maybe sounds and stuff. But what we are interested in now is the layout folder, and our default activity has this name given to it, activity_main. So the first thing we want to do is to create the look for the application, kind of like what we have here. for the ready version of the application. So we will start producing the same thing. So first of all, I'm going to get rid of this hello world. We don't need it. And let's go to the text mode. And what we want to do is to change this relative layout to a linear layout. Okay. Linear layout. Okay. And the thing that we need are layout layout type. Orientation, orientation should be vertical. So everything we put in this linear layout will be vertically aligned to the view. Okay, let's go back to the design mode. No, before that we need to remove these paddings because we want to use the entire area of the user interface. So I'm going to simply remove these paddings, and I will keep the width and the height of the linear layout to match the parent, so they again occupy the entire screen. Okay, let's go back to the design mode. Now we have our root element ready. We want to add some more linear layouts for it, of type vertical again. The first one for the text holder for the chronometer, the second one for the lap text, and the last one for the buttons. Okay, and as you can see at the moment, the first element occupies the entire of its parent, which will be this root linear layout. So we want to begin with at least these three to occupy at least 1/3 of the screen size. So I will select all of them, and I will set the weight property to 1. So each of them will be 1/3 of its parent. Okay, and that's good to begin with. And let's add a text view so we can show the time. Just dragging a text view here, and I will set the default text value to something that represents time 0. For example, 00 for the hours, then double dot for the minutes, and for the seconds, and 3 zeros for the millisecond part of our time. Okay, and let's make it a bit bigger, for example, by changing the text size property to like I don't know, 30 dp, 30 device pixel, or maybe it's a bit small, so let's make it 40 dp. It's also small, make it 50 dp. That's good enough. And let's change the color to something like phosphorus green. Of course you can set the colors anything you want, but this is just my own preference. And for it to look good, we want to make the background color of this linear layout, which contains the text view, to black. So I'm going to change the color of this one, if I can find it. Background, okay, background, let's make it black. Okay, that looks good. And that's it for the time view. And we forgot one thing. We have to rename the text view, the ID, so we can access it later in the code. And let's make it like, this is my own convention. You can name them anyhow you want. I will say TV is standing for text view underscore time. Okay, so later in the code we can access it with this name. Okay, So now let's add some buttons. We will take care of the lab view, the text for the labs later. Let's just start it so I can show you that it works fine. Now I will add a button here. No, I have to do something else because we want the buttons, as you can see, in single row, so we have to change the this linear layout to horizontal. So I'm going to the text view, and the last one we want to change the orientation to horizontal. You can also do it from the design view, but I find it easier to do it there. Okay, we add 3 buttons. Okay, first one, second one. Oh, I missed it. Okay, second button. I'm just dragging and dropping them. Okay. Oh, I have to put them inside this linear layout. Okay, that one, then this one, and finally the last one. Okay, so again I want them to have the same space. So first of all I will make them to the width to be match parent, and also the height should be match parent, and I will give them the weight of 1. Okay, that's more like it. We are still far away from the ideal scenario, but we will fix it over time, so no worries. And I will name the first button with my own convention, btn_start, and the second one btn_lab, and also the last one btn_stop. And now let's change the text property. This one should be a start. This one should be lap to record the current time. And this one obviously should be a stop. Okay, now we have the bare minimum, so we can go into the code and start writing some code, and we will come back and gradually clean up our user interface. So let's go back to the code. I'm going to the main activity.java, and here we have to declare our reference to our user interface elements. At the moment we have 4 of them. If you remember, we had a text view, private text view, and I will name it TV time, and I'm going to simply press Alt and Enter, so the text view package will be imported for us automatically here. And we had 3 buttons. Button, I will name the first one btn start. The second one, private button btn lab. And the last one, private button btn stop. And again, Alt and Enter, so that the button will be imported for us. And in the onCreate method, we can get a reference to the actual UI elements by using findViewById function or method. So I say mtvtime equals findViewById, then R for the resources dot ID, then the name we gave tv_time. So you can see why the naming convention is important, because I can easily distinguish between text views, buttons, and other UI elements. So we have to cast this to text view. Again, Alt and Enter, and I will do the same thing for the buttons. Okay, I have done the same thing for the buttons. Now we have to kind of make a event handler. So whenever the user presses the start button, for example, something good would happen. And how we do this is simply by setting the on click event, for example, button start, that set on click listener, and here we're gonna use an anonymous method. I just simply say new and select the on click listener and press enter, and hopefully Android the Studio will create it for us. Okay. Now if we reach here, it means that the button has been pressed. Okay. Now what would happen when the button starts? Button start is clicked. At the moment, nothing, of course, but we can simply check that by setting the changing the text of the TV time, mtv time dot set text, for example, just button start, just like that. Okay, guys, say goodbye to the Chronometer application here, because we are going to remove it from our virtual device and replace it with our current version. So this is what we want to achieve for the last time. So say goodbye to it, because I'm going to uninstall it from my Android virtual device. Okay, I have removed the working version of the Chronometer. I'm going back to the Android Studio. I noticed that I have accidentally removed this opening call bracers, and now our code should be in a working state. So let's try it. We want to deploy it on our emulator. Okay, and let's see what will happen. And this is the result of our work so far. We have the place order for the time, we have the place order for the laps that we haven't done anything yet, and we have the buttons when we have only the event handler for the start button. So if you press start, okay, it means that the handler works. And we're gonna go back to the code and make it a bit more sophisticated. Okay, I'm going to remove this, and let's get more screen area. Let's go to the project structure, because we have to add a new class. Okay, I'm going to the Java folder, to the source folder, and I will add a new class, and I will name it Chronometer. Okay, and we want to have a thread, so we want to implement from runnable, and I will hit Alt and Enter, so the interface method will be implemented for us. I mean the placeholder. Okay. So inside this class, we can keep track of time and update the user interface with the time that has passed since the start of the chronometer. So we kind of need some methods and some constructors. The first thing that we want to have is a kind of a way to access our main activity. And if you are familiar with Android, you know that the activities are based on context. So I will have a context property, and I will name it m main activity, or just name it m context. Okay. Then we need something to keep track of the starting time, so let's make it. And the time is in Android is it can be presented by a long variable type. So I will just say start time. Okay, that's good enough for now. And yeah, I think that for now it's enough. So let's add a constructor. I will press Alt and Insert. So it will generate for us a constructor, and the only parameter I'm interested in at the moment is the context. Okay. Now we have our context, and we also need a method, so we can call it from the main activity. Let's call it public void, because it doesn't return anything. Start. Start. Okay. Okay. We also need a method to stop the chronometer. Call it public void stop, because it also doesn't return anything. And for sake of being a good developer, I will introduce the Boolean type. Public Boolean m is running. So it will indicate whether or not our chronometer is running or not. So in the start I will say m is running equals true, and here I say m is running equals false. Okay. The moment that the chronometer is started, we have to capture the current time of the system. So it will be the base for our chronometer time. And how you do it is simply by saying m start time equals system dot current time millis. Yes, it will return the current time of the system, or Android phone or tablet or whatever, the time in milliseconds. And now we have to convert this time into representable kind of time, which is built over milliseconds, seconds, minutes, and hours. So that's a quite simple mathematical formula. I can show it to you now. Let me define some static constants. And how you declare constants in Java is by using the final keyword. In C and C++. In C++ we have a static, and in C we have a static, and in C# we have const, and also in C++ we have const. But in Java the counterpart is final. Okay, should be of type long. And I will gonna name it millis underscore to minutes. So this is simply telling us how many milliseconds are within a minute. So you know that each second is 1,000 milliseconds, and each second is 60. Each minute is 60 seconds. So it will be simply 60 times 1,000, it will be 60,000. Okay, and we do the same thing for the hours. Final long hours, millis to hours. Okay, it will be 3,600,000 milliseconds in each hour. Okay. Okay, this is the run method, and here we can check if the chronometer has started. So we can simply say while is running is true, do the following things for us. So first of all, we want to know how many milliseconds have passed since we have started. So we say along since equals, again we get the system current time in millisecond. Then we subtract it from the time that we have actually started. So it will be this one minus start time. Now we can say the seconds inside this equals since divided by 1000, because we know in each second there are 1000 milliseconds, and we get the remainder by 60. I have to be careful of the operator precedence. And we have to cast this to int, because by default it will be a long divided by anything which will be long, so we cast it to int. We do the same thing for the minutes. Int minutes equals since divided by the constant we have declared. Why we have declared this as constant? Because we do not want to the CPU of the Android device to calculate this these multiplications for us, because it will waste a lot of CPU cycles. So having them as a constant is a great chance to improve performance. So we want to get the minutes out of milliseconds, and I have to be careful over this operator precedences again. The reminder by 60, and yes, and this time we convert it to int by ourselves. Now we have seconds, minutes, and let's get the hours. Int hours equals int, we already casted it, so I open two bracers. Okay, since divided by millis to hours. Then we want a remainder by 24. Okay, that's also done. Now we have the correct division of time. We have to somehow let the main activity know to update the text view. So how we do that is going back to the main activity, and I will create a new method here, public void. I will name this method update time text, timer text, and the argument will be, of course, of type of a string time. And it is really important that we, because we will get the call to this method from Chronometer class, and it will be on its own thread. So we want to make sure that the updating the text view will happen on the main UI thread. So I will simply call run on UI thread and new runnable. Okay, and inside it I will just simply say mtv time dot set text equals time, the argument that we have passed. And you notice that there's a problem with this, because we are inside the anonymous method. We have to declare this argument as final. So that will take care of the problem, hopefully. Yes, it did. And we can go back to the Chronometer class, and we can simply get the reference that we already had from the main activity, you remember that we saved it in the context, mContext, and we have to cast this context to main activity. Main activity, okay. Now we can simply reach the update timer text that we have just defined in the main activity. Okay, now we have to do a string format. And the format will be, of course, %02. We need 2 zeros. Then again, %02 again for the minutes, %02 for the seconds, and of course, you have guessed by now 0.3 for the milliseconds. And all of them should be of type D for integer, D, and D. And we just simply pass the time that we have calculated. I think I have forgot something. We have to also get the milliseconds itself. Milli is equals, let's say, int, cast to int, since divided by 1000. Now reminder by 1000. Okay, so we can simply say hours, minutes, seconds, and finally millis. Okay, that should do it. So let's go back to the main activity, and now we have to do somehow run or instantiate our Chronometer class, and I will show you how to do that. So inside main activity, let me close this. We want a variable for the Chronometer class. Okay, I say private Chronometer Chronometer. Okay, and we also need a thread, private thread thread chrono. Okay. So let's go to the unclick listener for the start button. So here we can say mchrono equals new chronometer, and you remember we have to pass the first argument. It should be of type of main activity, so just simply say this. But again, we have the problem because we are inside the anonymous method or class. We have to get this this that refers to the main activity somewhere else. Again, I will put here private context context, and inside the onCreate I will get a reference to the main activity. Okay, now we can simply just pass in mContext. Okay, and let's check if the chronometer was not instantiated before. Okay, if it's not null, it means that it's already been started, because we don't want to create multiple of the chronometer instance. We have to really check if it was already started or not. If it was null, if it was not null, sorry, we will stop it by calling the stop method. Then we just stop it, but later we have to take care of the thread that we have created. I will show you later. And no, excuse me, because when we want to only start the chronometer if the chronometer object here is null. Okay, so I say chronometer equals new chronometer. I will pass the context. We have to bring this inside this if statement, and simply we create a new thread by saying thread chrono equals new thread, and we pass this chrono because the thread expects us something that that has been implemented, the runnable interface, and after that we can say the thread can start, and when the thread has started we can start the chronometer itself. Okay, this should partially work, so let's try it by running the application. I'm going to put it in the virtual device and wait for the build and see if we get any errors or not. Okay, it has not been updated yet since our last time. Let's see if we had any errors. No. Okay. Now let's click on the start button and hope for the best. Well, it works. Okay, and obviously the lab button doesn't do anything, and also the stop button doesn't do anything. So the next step will be somehow to implement the functionality of these two buttons. And you notice because that if statement that we put in the code, it doesn't let us to restart it by just simply pressing on the start button. So let's improve the application even more. Okay, the next thing we do is to implement the stop functionality. So I say same thing for the start button, but this time for a stop. I will set the unclick listener, then again new unclick listener, and here we check if the chronometer was already instantiated by checking it if it's not null. Now we can be sure that the chronometer was at some point in time was started, so had been started. So let's say it's a stop called a stop function, which, if you remember, will set the is running to false, and if the is running is false, this while loop will not operate anymore. That's the simple logic behind the application. And then we just clean up our thread, and how you do it is simply you call the interrupt method, and then you set it to null. This is just a safe kind of way of stopping a thread in Java, at least in the Android API, as far as I know. And after all, we set chronometer equals to null again, because the next time that the start button has been clicked, it will be null, so the chronometer will be started again. Okay, that should do it for the stop. We are not going to check it because it obviously will work. So let's go back to the main activity, the layout, and we have this kind of stupid error message. I think we have to sync the project to get rid of this error message, hopefully. Or just simply let's close it and open it again. Okay, resources, layout, and activity main. I have no idea why we have this error message, but let's try clear the cache. Okay, that works fine. And first of all, this linear layout is a bit too big for us, so I will put the weight. I will change the weight scale for all of them to something, some bigger number that we can easily work on, because the weight only accepts integers, so I will say 6. So they still have the same ratio of filling the root layout, but this one I will make it 8. Okay, so this one is 8, this one is 6, and this one is 6. And let's also make the last one also 8, because we want the most area for the labs. This one again, let's increase the weight. Okay, now this one decrease the weight, so it's just a game of guessing. Okay, and this time this one 12. Okay, I think by now it's better than nothing. And let's do the same thing with the second linear layout, and we want the background to be black again. Okay, and let's put a large text view, and we want to fill the entire area. Okay, but the problem with this will be that if we go outside this area, we have to somehow scroll down to the bottom, so we have to take care of that also, and that's simply can be done by wrapping the text view inside the scroll view. So I'm going to the text mode, I declare the scroll view, and I will put the width to be a matching parent, and we have to make sure that we put the closing tag of the scroll view after the text view, so this way we can know that the text view has been wrapped inside the scroll view. And we need a ID for our the scroll view. At plus ID, I will say SV for a scroll view under labs. Okay, and we make the height also match parent. And for the edit text, I'm really sorry, we had to do this on the second one, on this one. Okay, and let's also copy the closing tag, and okay, because the first one was our timer, and we don't need the scroll view for that. So, and let's change this to edit text, because it's easier to work with. And let's give it a name. I mean an ID. It already has an ID, so I will replace the ID with ET for edit text underscore labs. Okay, and we have to make sure that we close it. Okay, and let's format the code. Okay. And the default text, we want it to be clean. We don't want to see anything unless the user has pressed on the lab button. So that should do it for the text view from the user interface point of view. And let's go back to the main activity and again declare a click listener for MBTN lab that we already defined. Set on click listener, new click listener, okay. And now we need a reference to the edit text that we already defined. So let's say private edit text MET labs, and we obviously need to get a reference in it for it. MET labs equals find view by id r.id.et labs, and I've pressed Alt and Enter for the casting to the edit text. Now we can access it freely, and okay. When the user presses on the lab button, we just simply want a copy of the current time to be placed into the edit text, and we can simply say MET labs dot append text and just some sort of text format lab space plus, then we get the value of the TV time. Okay, and at the end we just print a new line. But we have a problem here. We have to take care of the number of the labs button that we have pressed. So I'm going up there again. I say private int labs equals 1 because we want to start counting from 1. And whenever we start the chronometer here, we have to do some extra steps. We reset the lab counter to 1, and we clean the we clear the old text inside the labs text view. Okay, and we can now add a string that value of labs, so we get the numbers plus 1 extra space and plus the current value of the TV time. Okay, then we have to make sure to scroll to the down. So again, we need a reference to the scroll view. Okay, private scroll view SV labs. Same story. We have to get the reference. SV labs equals find view by ID r.id.sv labs. Again, Alt and Enter for the cast. And here we scroll down. What did I name it? MSP labs. Okay. That because we want to not be on the other threads, So we say okay, we have a problem here. Okay, let's see what is the problem. Okay, we have defined the scroll view, MSV Labs, and we have also got the reference, and I guess we have to declare it as final. Well, yes, obviously we have to put it inside the onClick function of the bottom lab. So we say MSV Labs dot post new runnable, and MSV Labs dot the smooth scroll to point x equals 0, and the bottom of the text view, edit text, sorry. Okay, that should do it. And I think it's better for us to set if Chronometer was not running, so there's no point of doing capturing a lap, so I say just simply say return. Do nothing. Okay, let's try the application one more time. Let's see if we get any errors. Okay. Let's try it. Okay. We can see some stuff, but I guess we have some errors. If I can. Oh, oh, what a funny error. Okay. Let's kill the emulator. First of all, we need to change the color of the text view. I mean the edit text to something visible. The background should be black, okay, but the color should be something obvious. Let's try I don't know, blue. And while we are here, let's do somehow that we cannot edit it. So I will search for the editable, enabled, okay. Editable is already false. Okay, I think we have to do it through the code. Here we can say MET labs dot is enabled. I think that's a read-only method. Is the table. I have to look it up again. Okay, I think it should be MET labs dot set enabled false. By setting this, then the user cannot edit the text inside the lab view. And let's check the text. And the problem was the here what we had to do was to get the text of the text view time, but we were doing wrong, and we were getting the object, and obviously what we have seen was the to a string method of the text view, but it should work now. So let's try it again, and make sure that you put the get text method of the MTV time, otherwise it doesn't work. And you will get crap text. So let's see. Okay, that looks better. Let's start it, and let's again hope that the lab works. Okay, I can guess you know what's the error, because we didn't increment the lab counter, and it's really simple to do. Whenever we append something to the ET labs, we just increment the mlabs by 1. Okay, let's try it again. Okay, this time I believe the lab should work fine, and we can see that the lab counter is incrementing. And let's see if the scroll view works. Yes, we're getting the scroll to the bottom, and we can easily scroll to the top and bottom of the edit text. Okay, and let's stop. Let's start again, and the counter should start from 1 again. Yes, it does. Yeah, so that's basically what you had to do to create this chronometer. There are some extra features that I think because of lack of time and we cannot discuss it anymore. But if you're interested to see how you can implement a way that you can save the value of the time counter, you can easily go to my GitHub. It is github.com/embedonics, and you can find the repository for this code, Android chronometer, and you can simply check the source code. I have everything here. So for example, if you go to the main activity, you see that I have already commented everything, so you can very easy follow the code. And the only thing that I have added here is that I have overridden the unsaved instance and on pause. So whenever the application goes to the background, then the value of the timer is saved, and when it comes back, the value will continue from the last state that it was in. So you can simply see it here. I have overridden the unsaved instance. So here you can easily follow this code, and if you had any problems, you can ask me. I hope you have learned something from this tutorial, and in the next one we will do something more sophisticated. And that's all. Thanks for watching, and see you soon.